shalom. Love from love, hope from hope, and peace from peace came about that Khalil Gibran wrote about Thomas, one of the forebearers of one of his forefathers of his doubts, because that was his grandfather. And he said this. Thomas said, "My grandfather, who was a lawyer, once said, 'Let us observe truth, but only when truth is made manifest unto us.' When Jesus called me, I listened to him, for his command was more potent than my will. Yet I kept my counsel. And when he spoke, and the others were swayed like branches in the wind, yet I listened immovable. And yet I loved him. 3 years ago, he left us, a scattered company, to sing his name and to be his witnesses of the Father's love unto the nations. At that time, I was called Thomas the Doubter. The shadow of my grandfather was still heavy upon me, laden, and always I would have truth made manifest. I would even put my head in my own wound in order to feel the blood so that I would believe in my own pain. Now, a man who loves with all his heart and yet holds a doubt in his mind is but a slave in a galley, sleeping at his oar, dreaming of his freedom until the lash of the master finally wakes him back to the reality. And I myself, Thomas, I was a slave, and I dreamed of freedom, but the sleep of my grandfather was upon me, and my flesh needed the whip of my very own day. Even in the presence of the Nazarene, I had closed my eyes to see my own hands chained to the oar. Doubt is a pain too lonely to know that faith is doubt's twin brother. And doubt is a fondling, unhappy, and astray, and through his own mother who gave him birth, should find him and enfold him. He would withdraw in caution and in fear, for doubt will not know truth until his wounds are healed and restored. And I doubted Jesus until he made himself manifest to me and thrust my very own hands into his very large wounds. Then indeed I believed right away, and after I was rid of my yesterday and yesterday's fears from my forefathers, I realized that the dead in me buried their dead, and the living within me shall live for that anointed King, our Majesty of Majesties, even for him who was the Son of Man. And yesterday they told me that I must go and utter his name among the Persians and amongst the Hindus, and I shall go. And from this day until my very last day at dawn and the evening, I will see my Lord rising in majesty, and I shall hear him speaking. And then came the voice of Elamadam, the logician, and he spoke on Jesus, the outcast. And he said, "You bid me to speak of Jesus the Nazarene, and much have I to tell, but the time has not come. Yet whatever I say of him now is still going to be the truth, for all speech is worthless except when it discloses truth. Behold a man disorderly against all order, a mendicant opposed to all possessions, a drunkard who would only make merry with rogues and castaways. He was not the proud son of the state, nor was he the protected citizen of the empire. Therefore he had contempt for both state and empire. He would live as free and dutiless as the fowls of the air. And for this the hunters brought him to earth with arrows. No one shall open the floodgates of his ancestors without drowning. It is the law of love. And because the Nazarene broke the Hebrew law, he and his witless followers were brought to nothing. And there lived many others like him, men who would change the course of destiny. They themselves were changed and they became losers. There is a grapeless vine that grows by the city walls. It creeps upward and clings to the stones. Should that vine say in her heart, with my might and my might, the weight, I should destroy these walls, what would the other plants say, you wonder? Surely they would laugh at her foolishness. Now, I cannot but laugh at that man Jesus, but not at him really, with him, for all of that which was happened did help bring much more love into the world.